everyone, welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Check them out. But first, stay on this one. This is going to be, kind of a more interesting video. I don't do videos like this too much. However, it's something to always touch on the topic of. So, this video, 5 guns that, while I do not believe are great for self-defense, I will end up owning. And I'm going to go into some of the reasons why I don't believe they're so great for self-defense. I'm going to go into some of the reasons why I still will end up buying them. One of the main reasons, obviously, going to be for collection purposes. However, there's no more beating around the bush. Let's get into it. So, for starters, a Desert Eagle chambered in 50 Action Express or 50 AE. All right. Desert Eagles, I've actually done an entire video on Desert Eagles as a whole. Just whether I believe the platform is good for self-defense or not. And it's a very unique platform itself in the sense that it's not, it's not 100% similar to how a lot of other pistol platforms are. It's it's a gas-operated pistol, which is kind of a bigger deal here. Now, the reason why I'm saying, oh yeah, I want it to be chambered in 50 Action Express is simply because that is what the Desert Eagle is best known for when it comes to what caliber it is. Some people may argue, oh, well, it's better known for 357 Magnum or 44 Magnum. But here's what I'm going to tell you guys just to, prove otherwise, all right? Prior to me doing my video on Desert Eagles, I didn't know Desert Eagles could be chambered in 357 Magnum as well. They're simply just not known for some of these other chamberings, which is perfectly fine. It's not the biggest deal. It doesn't mean it's a shit platform or anything along those lines. However, it is simply known for, 50 AE, shit like that. Now, one of the reasons why I believe it is not a great self-defense, actually a couple of the reasons why I believe it's not going to be a great self-defense gun simply is based off the weight of the gun itself, the round it's chambered in, the capacity. We have a couple of things here, not to mention I've seen tons of videos of Desert Eagles not being reliable as they should be. So, for starters, capacity, no matter what caliber you're choosing your Desert Eagle to be in, you're not getting a great capacity. Even in 357 Magnum, you get a 9+1 capacity. So you see where we're going with this. But more specifically for the one I would be choosing would be 50 Action Express. I believe it is 7+1 you get. Not a great capacity, especially for self-defense. So that pretty much takes it out of the category for, home defense. The round 50 Action Express itself isn't a popular enough round for me to even consider it a good shit hits the fan gun. With the weight of it, I almost said the height of it. The weight of it, it would definitely be too heavy for concealed carry, in my opinion. So that only leaves really one thing that it could be useful for, which would be more so an animal defense situation. And, 50 AE, I'm sure it could do a pretty damn good job, protecting yourself against a good-sized animal. I have zero doubt about that. However, the lack of capacity is where I still kind of draw an issue. You see what I mean? It doesn't have that level of power that I'm okay with not having a capacity. You see what I mean? Now, with all that being said, why would I still want one, you may be wondering? Well, they're fucking cool. Who doesn't want a Desert Eagle? Come on now. Let's make this abundantly clear. I understand it is an insanely heavy gun. I understand it is an insanely expensive gun. I understand it's an insanely expensive gun to shoot. However, who can truthfully say they have a good gun collection if they don't have at least one Desert Eagle? At least one. You see what I mean? You can't. You can't. It's not possible. On top of how cool it looks, on top of the notoriety of the Desert Eagle itself, on top of, just the 50 Action Express round, we're also talking about, one of the most popular handguns in video games ever. That's just the truth of the matter here. So that's just number one. Number two, single action revolvers. I haven't decided which one in particular. However, the platform as a whole, pretty not a good self-defense situation. You see what I mean? They're not really that great for self-defense. I'm sure if we're talking like way back in the fucking cowboy days, hey, who knows, right? But that's not what we're dealing with. Excuse me, I can English. That's not what we're dealing with now. We're dealing with, much more advanced technology, much higher capacity, more capable rounds, much easier ways to deal with malfunctions. So just for that aspect, how old the whole platform of single action revolvers are, it would not be that great for self defense. The fact that you would have to cock the hammer back each round does not make it great for self defense. Now, the difference between some of y'all might be wondering, oh, why are single action semi-autos okay, but not single action revolvers? Well, because with single action semi-autos, the slide is racking back, forcing the hammer to go back. You're not having to do it yourself. It is happening each time you pull the trigger. So with that being the case, we're not really looking the best here. Single action plus a low capacity plus the fact that some of these rounds just really are very obsolete nowadays kind of takes it out of all categories. It really knocks it out of home defense, concealed carry. It knocks it out of shit hits the fan. It knocks it out of animal defense, really. I mean, the only thing you could try to argue for is animal defense. And honestly, with how irrelevant some of these calibers of these single action revolvers come in, I wouldn't even make that argument too much. So with that being the case, it's not really the greatest for self-defense by any standard. However, why would I still want to own one? Well, I mean, let's be 100% honest here. How much history comes in single action revolvers? If I'm going to get one, I'm probably not going to get some random ass one. I'm probably going to get like maybe a Colt Army or some shit like that. I'm not sure. Something along those lines where, it has a certain level of significance and history to it. So once again, that's essentially boils down to what the history is of it, the fact that it's going to be a great collector's piece, and the fact that, yeah, while it might not be great for self-defense, it's probably going to be fun to shoot for sure. So, I mean, that's number 2 right there. There really isn't much for this case. Number 3, this one is going to be the hardest one for me to really argue for you guys. The only real reason I have is because they look neat and, collection purposes, right? Derringers. Now, if you don't know what a Derringer is super, super small little pocket guns, right? That are oftentimes chambered in rounds that are essentially too big for what it should be. They're oftentimes chambered in some pretty, high calibered rounds. These are guns that, you get maybe anywhere from 1 to, I think the most I've seen was 4. And that's like a specific model in particular. 1 to 4 rounds out of each time. That's it. Then you have to reload. Super small, so the barrel length is incredibly small. Obviously, it's great for concealment. You know what I mean? Like, picture a prostitute gun. That's a Derringer. Can guarantee it almost. When you're picturing a prostitute gun, you're probably okay. You know what? You might be thinking a little 25, semi-auto, whatever. But if you think of an old Western prostitute gun, that's a Derringer. There we are. That's the perfect phrase right there. Think of an old Western prostitute gun, Derringer. All right. You know what I'm talking about. So just the capacity alone, not great for self-defense. The rounds that they're generally chambered in, although I have seen some be chambered in even 22 LR, which would make a huge difference, but a majority of them are chambered in some, pretty heftier rounds. I've even seen a Derringer chambered in 7.62 by 39. So that's not, great there. So recoil is going to be absolutely just stupid. All right, stupid. You're not going to be able to aim too well, especially with how short the barrel length will be. You're not going to have a great capacity. This essentially knocks it out, once again, of all self-defense situations, in my opinion. It takes it all away from being viable for self-defense. But why do I want to own one still? As I said, they look neat. They look really cool. You just sit there and look at a little, it does look nice. Look, neat little thing. Just look at. Collection purposes. Maybe shoot it once in a while. That's really it. Would I ever use it for self-defense? Hell no. Hell no. It doesn't matter what situation. I mean, the only time I could ever see it being useful is if I had used every other round in every other gun I have. Not a great self-defense gun. Still one on the list to definitely own, though. Haven't decided which model or anything along those lines. However, I do want to get a Derringer sometime soon. Next. Now, these next two, they kind of go hand in hand because, you know, they're under the same category, but they're also not. You'll see what I'm getting at. We're going to start with the Kriss Vector. All right. The Kriss Vector, if you guys know, in its unneutered form, is an SMG chambered in 45 ACP. It is pretty, pretty dope little, it's nice. It's nice. It looks really cool. When it's unneutered, it shoots really nice from what I've seen. And it overall just seems like a great gun to own. Now, some of y'all are wondering, well, why do you keep talking about the unneutered version? Because, well, we have the NFA here, so we can't get the unneutered version. We have to deal with, the shit with its balls cut off. You feel me? We have to deal with the semi-auto. So we essentially get everything except the fact that it's semi-auto. That's it. Now, I'm sure some of y'all are wondering, oh, why is that a big deal if you don't really care about full auto like that? Well, here's the reason why. Is that a lot of these SMGs are made for a spray and pray situation. They're not made for a, boom, boom, 1-2 round fire. They're not really designed for that. The triggers are horrible. The sights aren't the best. You really aren't going to be able to get too much. That's why it's designed for a spray and pray. You want to put it in a situation where it's like, yep, I'm putting all these rounds into these people. You see what I mean here? That's one of the biggest problems with SMGs as a whole, is that because we have the NFA, we can't get a true SMG. We're getting a PCC version of an SMG, which screws us over because they're not even doing anything to upgrade it to make it a good PCC. It makes no sense to me. It makes zero sense whatsoever. Now, I will say, while 45 is a capable round, and you do get a decent capacity, especially out of the Kriss Vector, when you don't have the capability of, full auto or anything along those lines, in a PCC'd SMG, it just doesn't do anything. It just seems like, honestly, you know what it feels like? Hold up, get ready for this. Hear me out. Y'all ever seen like a big ass bowl of ice cream? And, you're like, oh yeah, can I have some? Yeah, there should be some in the fridge. There's one bite left. It's like, yeah, I get a little taste of what it's like. A little bit. That's it. You know what I mean? Overall, just because of all the just because of the properties of itself being what was originally created to be an SMG, it's not going to be a great self-defense gun when it comes to most situations we would find ourselves in. However, if it stayed as how it was and was unneutered, we at least have the spray and pray option of it being more effective. That's just what the truth of the matter is. In a situation where you're dealing with, a PCC'd SMG and there's no upgrades on it to make the trigger better. You don't even have a dot on it. You don't got anything going for you to try to at least make it, make the most out of it. You essentially are left with, wow, what can do the job might not be able to do it as well as it could have if it wasn't fucked with. Now, the next one falls under the same category. Oh, you know what? Actually, hold on. I almost skipped why we'll still be owning one. Why the fuck not? It's a Kriss Vector. Who does not want to own a Kriss Vector? A lot of these, once again, guys, I understand this is a very subjective list. This isn't a list that it's like, oh, yeah, well, he has this reason plus this, and this, some that y'all can argue about in the comments or anything along those lines. This is a very my opinion based video. Why do I still want to get one despite me believing, once you've neutered it, that it's not that great? Well, the truth of the matter is just because it's a Kriss Vector. That's really my only reason why. It's not even my favorite SMG. It's really not. It's just a super fucking cool one. You see what I mean? That's just the truth of the matter here. My fifth and final one, and truthfully, it disappoints me to say this because if you know me, you know this actually is one of my favorite guns on the planet. And I can't believe I have to sit here and explain why it's not that great for self-defense. Oh, God. Sorry, I need a second here. Father, forgive me. The HK MP5. This is my favorite SMG in the fucking world, on the planet. There is not a single one that I like more than the HK MP5. Why? Okay, well, let's start it here. All right. You get a good capacity of 9mm, which is a decent round. It's a lowish recoil round, so that way when you have it in full auto, it's good for spray and pray. No doubt about it. I've seen it be used in countless video games. Of course, that's always a plus, as well as the Chris Vector, I believe, as well. But that's not neither here nor there. All right. The HK slap, everything about the MP5 almost is just phenomenal. However, just like with the Chris Vector, we still have to deal with the NFA, which means that it is neutered. You don't get full auto. You don't get really any of the fun with it. You really don't. And that's what's kind of put me off from honestly getting one already. I break the bank. Fuck that. I'll call the bank up and get a loan for their entire business. Like, what? Give me that MP5. I ain't playing. But as I was saying, when you PCC'd an SMG, it really just ruins it. And with the MP5 in particular, I know it doesn't have a great trigger. I know that for a fact. So just for that fact, the fact that we have to deal with a neutered version when in all reality, all it's doing is just hindering its capabilities of what it's supposed to do, what it was originally designed to do, regardless of how you feel about it. That's what it was designed to do. You're saying, no, we can't make things to do that way. It makes no fucking sense personally. Matter of fact is that I'm having to sit here and explain how the only reasons why that these SMGs I wouldn't consider good for self-defense is because of the fact that there are no upgrades to them since they've been PCC'd out, since they have been neutered. There have been no upgrades to them. There have been no upgrades to the trigger grouping. There's no upgrade to anything. There's no upgrades that really have been made that would make these better PCCs than what they could have been as SMGs. And they don't even have to be as good, like, look, this is where they are on SMG level. This is where they are on PCC level, right? They don't even have to be right here. They just have to not be here. You see what I mean? It has to be at least here or some shit. It has to be a somewhat close comparison, but no, it's not. Why? Just because of the fact that you're taking a couple of things away, it makes that big of a difference for the capabilities of the gun itself. Now, I know it sounds like I'm kind of going in circles, especially with the last two, because they both kind of fall under the same category. However, just remember, this is an opinion-based video. These are 5 guns that, while I believe are not great for self-defense, I will still own. With that being said, y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And because you agree with me, Desert Eagle, single-action revolvers, Derringers, Chris Vectors, MP5s, all dope as fuck. So fucking cool. If you agree with me, make sure to check out all my other videos. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.